You see that? Like, this one surprised me. Big Beyonce respect her. This is the only country album on this list. Come on. Come on. Okay. Hello everybody. Today we are back and it is a little bit different than my usual videos. I usually do them during the daytime, but today I wanted to talk about Apple Music's 100 best albums list that they put out this week. That's gone viral over TikTok and Twitter and Instagram, just to see whether or not we thought that this list was up to par with what we also thought. And I thought this would be a good practice video for me to also shorten down my length time. So without further ado, we are going to get right into the video. And so the criteria that we have for the video, I will put it here, and this is what we're going to keep in mind. But the criteria is pretty much just saying that like they want albums that kind of broke the genre and broke the mold and also created music to go on for further decades and like centuries in the future for people to just kind of feel inspired by. So pretty simple, self-explanatory criteria. We're going to see whether or not we feel that matches up with what we decide as well. So like I said, we're going to get right into it. So starting with the top of the album, I'm going to put it in the video. We have Robin, Body Talk, and Hotel California by the Eagles. I 100% agree with this. It's just a great album, I probably imagine. So I haven't listened to it, I don't think in full, but pretty good. Astro Worlds, I'm surprised that this one's not higher on the list, given the fact that it's actually really, really popular with just within the rap genre and everything. So that is one that actually kind of surprised me a little bit. Pure Heroine by Lorde. I think this one surprised me a lot. Well, I'm not surprised that Pure Heroine made it on. I'm surprised that Melodrama didn't make it on there. And when I was in high school, Melodrama was my jam. So I listened to that front to back, left to right, up, down. Like, I think that one's perfect. So, but I think this makes sense because without Pure Heroine, you wouldn't have Melodrama, you wouldn't have Solar Power. So I think that makes sense for me. And then you have Confessions by Usher, Untrue by Burial, A Seat at the Table. I mean, I do have that vinyl, so there is not much for me to say about that hasn't already been said already. Great album, 10 out of 10. I will agree with that listing. Personally, I do think it should be a little bit higher, but I'll take it. Then we have Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. This is another one that I also was surprised was 92 on the list. I thought this one should be a little bit higher. Tyler, the Creator is just, I mean, he's a great rapper, he's a great musician, he's a great just artist in general. So this one didn't surprise me. I'm just surprised that it's so low because this one really did also redefine rap in just kind of the genre of it, and people had expectations for what a Tyler the Creator album was, and for him to come out with Flower Boy and it was kind of not anything like he's ever done before, I think that was just perfect. So that one I think should be a little bit higher. Then you have George Michael, The Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. I had this album, this was my first CD that I ever got when I was younger. I had this CD, my mom let me get it from Kohl's one time, and ever since then I've loved the album. I used to listen to the track Boys, Boys, Boys constantly. It was just my favorite. I mean, kind of ended up where we are now with, you know, but that's whatever. Lady Gaga effect, if you will. So I Put a Spell on You by Nina Simone, Blue Lines by Massive Attack, My Life by Mary J. Blige, Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves. Not to spoil the rest of the list for you guys, but this is the only country album on this list. There are no other country artists on this list, and there are no other country albums on this list. So for Casey Musgraves to be on here, she should feel very honored, and also probably a little bit like, what's going on? Why are there no other country artists as well?
It's getting weird.
That surprised me a lot because I really expected it. But I think Golden Hour 100% deserves to be on here. Golden Hour is a perfect album, so I have no critiques about that at all. Freestyle by Snoop Dogg, Horses by Patti Smith, Get Rich or Die Trying, After the Gold Rush by Neil Young, The Marshall Mathers by Eminem, Norman Rockwell by Lana Del Rey, This one surprised me. I like Lana Del Rey, I like her music. I was just surprised that Born to Die wasn't on here, or Ultraviolence wasn't on here. I think those were also really, really good. Norman Rockwell is probably like one of her best albums, so I do understand why it's on it. Then we have Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. This is another one, I mean, yeah, right where it needs to be, perfect. I'm glad it's on the list. Like a Prayer by Madonna, Un Verano Sinti by Bad Bunny, Missy Elliott, The Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails, and then Steely Dan is on here. Steely Dan was a pleasant surprise. I didn't think they were going to be on this album. I do know one song from this album. The song is Peg. Very good song. Then we get to SOS by SZA, and this one I'm like a little bit conflicted on because I think SOS is perfect. I think it's a great album. I loved it when it came out. I'm just surprised that they didn't put Control as well, or maybe like on the list as well. I think without Control, we wouldn't have SOS and we wouldn't have SZA's artistry that we've got to now. But maybe that's just me. I think Control for me was like an album that I really loved and took to heart. I really connected with the lyrics and like the melody and the songs. I just really connected with the album in general. So for me, maybe it's just a lot of recency bias and like bias on my own part for Control, but I think Control is something that I probably would have put in front of SOS, or maybe just replace SOS on the album list in general. Then we have Kraftwerk, Straight Outta Compton, Master of Puppets, Is This It by The Strokes, Dummy by Portishead, The Queen Is Dead, The Smiths. I mean, I love The Smiths.
I love The Smiths.
Sorry?
I said I love The Smiths.
Under the double-decker bus, yeah. You know?
I love The Smiths.
So, can't argue with that one. Perfect, you know. Baduism by Erykah Badu. I think that one's perfect. Love Deluxe by Sade. This one, I think, is also perfect. I think, well, I know for a fact. I know I personally love that album. It's a great album. I mean, it comes with so many great songs. I've listened to it before. I recently got into Sade, so this might be some recency bias, too, for why I think this one should be on here. But Sade is just... I don't know what to say. Sade has such a way with words in her songs and her music, and just like her voice and her tone is just so... If you want to feel relaxed, put on some Sade, put a candle on, and you're there. The Velvet Underground, perfect. Definitely perfect. I mean, this one created so much music that's inspired indie artists today, still does, so that one's perfect for me. I think that one's great. AM, Arctic Monkeys, I mean, why do you only call me when you're high? Oasis, Voodoo by D'Angelo, Disintegration, The Cure, Anti by Rihanna, perfect. John Coltrane, A Love Supreme, Exile on Main Street, The Rolling Stones, Hounds of Love by Kate Bush, The Joshua Tree by U2, Paul's Boutique by Beastie Boys, Take Care by Drake. Yeah, he better take care. Because Kendrick's coming after him. Stevie Wonder, Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. Love Stevie Wonder. I'm not familiar with that album either, so I really need to maybe get into Stevie Wonder as well, and kind of albums like he might have done, or maybe I do, I just don't know the album name. So Control by Janet Jackson. As a big Janet Jackson fan, hear me out. I love this album, love this body of work. I have it, I play it all the time. Great album. I'm surprised because I think that they could have put either Janet, the album, or they could have put The Velvet Rope on here. I think The Velvet Rope really redefined R&B and used precise sampling and great melodies and just great mixing and production. I think The Velvet Rope is an album that really stands on its own, and like it speaks for itself. So I'm really surprised that they put The Control on here versus the Velvet Rope. But this one also has the song Nasty on it, and I mean, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
Do you have a favorite line or a favorite lyric? Is there one lyric that everyone always just yells to you? Or?
Oh gosh, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You can't have Janet Jackson without Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. That's her. So I understand why they have that on there. Aquamini by Outkast. I never loved a man the way I loved you. Aretha Franklin. This one is a great album. Great album. I am surprised that it's not up higher. I think we need to recognize the queen, Aretha Franklin, and the queen of soul, Aretha Franklin, and put her up a little bit higher. And another thing I've noticed while I'm going through this album is the lack of R&B and a very big lack of like soul and gospel music. I'm glad that they put this one on here because it deserves this space. I just think that it should have been a little higher, especially being like gospel and soul music. It should have been way higher. Illmatic by Nas, Tapestry by Carole King. I mean, come on. Come on now. Natural Woman, a great song, covered still to this day, covered by Aretha Franklin. And look, if you haven't heard that cover, listen to the actual cover and then listen to the live performance that she did. I don't know where the venue was or what the reason was, but you'll find it. It's an amazing performance. I feel starstruck watching it. So definitely do yourself a favor and listen to Carole King front to back. This one definitely has inspired so many musicians today and will continue to do so for so many centuries and decades. So Carole King, 10 out of 10, 100%. I think personally, on my own list, I would have put this a lot higher. And then we have Enter the Wu-Tang by Wu-Tang Clan, Beyonce by Beyonce. I mean, what more needs to be said about this? I love Beyonce. Big Beyonce fan in this house. Big Beyonce respecter. Big Beyonce. So you have to notice and recognize the craft that she does and puts into her work in order to understand her. And so Beyonce, self-titled, let's do a little history check. Beyonce dropped this Friday night at midnight, all the songs, and then with that music, she dropped a music video for each and every song. Who does it like that nowadays?
Wait, how did you find this out?
It was on Twitter. Someone said Beyonce just put out an album, and it doesn't make sense.
A whole album.
There's no single, and she's put videos together for every single song. Oh, here it is. What the hell is happening? I'm downloading it now. I can't even discuss this. This is the most insane thing that's ever happened. Grown Woman's not on here. There's a song called XO. There's a video for every song.
Wait, how many songs are there?
There are 14 songs, and then there's, oh my god! There's more than 14 videos! I'm downloading the entire album. This has come out of nowhere. It is a Thursday at 8:50 p.m. in Los Angeles. It's not even midnight in New York City. This is unreal. This is unprecedented. Why would she do it like this?
Beyonce is the reason that we now drop music on Fridays. Before Beyonce had done this, we used to drop music and singles and albums on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But then Beyonce said, I'm going to break the mold. No promo. I'm not going to talk about this album. I'm not going to put a single out for this album. I'm going to drop it on a Friday night, a random Friday night, with all the music videos locked and loaded. And she changed the game. Changed the game with that digital drop. Okay. Now check that. London Calling by The Clash. I mean, perfect. We're all lost in the supermarket. You no longer sound like a bully. Special offer. Perfect. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Public Enemy. I'm not familiar with that album, but that title name is hard. Kid A, Radiohead, Ready to Die, The Notorious B.I.G., Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. When we all fall asleep, where do we go? Billie Eilish. This one I'm surprised is on here to begin with. No shade to Billie Eilish. No shade. I am just surprised that they put this one on here. I like Billie Eilish. I'm just not a personal fan of her music. I would have thought they would have put like Happier Than Ever. Personally, I think that was a movement. But also, this one was very viral at the time when it was out. So I will give Billie Eilish her coins there. She made it on number 30 for the albums list. So I'm really surprised about that. The Low End Theory, A Tribe Called Quest, The Dark Side of the Moon, Led Zeppelin 2 by Led Zeppelin, Kind of Blue, Miles Davis.
You like jazz?
I mean, once again, what more can be said? Great album. Also, I have this vinyl, not to be that person, but this vinyl comes in blue. Like an ultramarine blue. You see that? Like, I know it's on the nose a little bit, but kind of blue with an ultramarine blue vinyl? Stop. Stop playing with me. The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. I don't know this album, and I did not know it had that title. I'm guessing that this is the album that has Is There Life on Mars? That sort of thing. So maybe that's correct, maybe that's not. Someone let me know. Then we have Discovery by Daft Punk, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, Revolver by the Beatles. Great album. Pet Sounds, The Beach Boys. I didn't know this album was actually called Pet Sounds. I just know... Sorry, I thought someone was breaking into my house.
What?
Okay, we're good. I don't know
Anyway,
this album was called Pet Sounds. I actually just thought it had pets on the cover, so I'm really surprised about that. 1989, Taylor's version, Taylor Swift. Now, Swifties, I want you to stick with me and I want us to breathe together. I want us to literally, before you start typing in the comments, just stick with me. I personally do not think this album should be on this list. The world didn't change after I said that. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I don't think that 1989 is Taylor Swift's best body of work. I don't love Taylor Swift's music myself personally, but I do think that her best body of work is either maybe Folklore or like the OG Taylor Swift. Her like lyrical poetry that she likes to do and blends in with all of her music and production works so well on Folklore. I actually like that one, and so I think that one should be on here. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, Blue by Joni Mitchell. Great. 21, Adele. Blue by Joni Mitchell, sorry, I have to go back to that. You know, the sitting in the park in Paris, France. Come on now. 21, Adele. Highway 61, Revisited. Bob Dylan, The Blueprint, Jay-Z, OK Computer, Radiohead, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Once again, I have this one. To nobody's surprise, I think all of America has this one. I think anyone who's ever collected vinyls has this album. It's been reprinted and remade so many times, but not because of that. I think it's so popular. It's so good. Fleetwood Mac is so good. So I'm not surprised by that one at all. Lemonade by Beyonce. Now we're in the top 10s. Lemonade by Beyonce. 10 out of 10. Once again, Beyonce's redefining moment in her career. Another one. There are so many artists who get so many different redefining moments, and Beyonce just keeps redefining moments in her career. She just keeps changing the game for herself. And with Lemonade, it shows. Lemonade, great body of work for music, and then a great body of work for visuals, and she literally put out a movie for this, basically. So this is where artist and storytelling happened for Beyonce, and it's so clear when you watch Lemonade, the film. Nevermind by Nirvana, Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. So I don't love her music, but I do respect her, and I do respect the songs. I do like some. Good Kid by Kendrick Lamar, Songs in the Key of Life. That's one that I wish I had on vinyl. It is so good. Blind by Frank Ocean. This one surprised me, actually, because I thought that this one, for Frank Ocean, I thought they would have maybe chosen like Channel Orange, or at least put it on the list, because I feel like that's Frank's like magnum opus as well. I think that's just a good body of work. Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution. Very good. Very good. 10 out of 10. Abbey Road, The Beatles. Once again, just I don't know what to say. Just The Beatles, Abbey Road. It's one of the most famous covers of all time. And so there's no argument there. Thriller is number 2. And then we have The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill at number 1. Thriller by Michael Jackson, number 2. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill by number 1. Now, don't come for me, but what if we swapped Lauryn Hill and Michael Jackson? All I'm saying is, what if we put Thriller at number 1 and Miseducation of Lauryn Hill at number 2? All I'm saying. I'll leave it at that. I just feel like when I have listened to this album, I haven't connected to it with the way that other people do. So, for me, it's just surprising. Okay. So that's the list. We're going to talk about my issues and my critiques for this list. Personally, one of my biggest critiques that I have for this list is that they did not include all the genres that I think they could have fit on here. They forgot about gospel music, they forgot about post-90s R&B music, they forgot about blues music, they forgot about some jazz standards like singers and musicians, and they also forgot about international and live albums specifically. Like, international music is one that really stood out to me because they just put Bad Bunny, Un Verano Sin Ti, and we're like, okay, that's good. And like I said before, there's a lot of people that are missing. I have a couple vinyls that I want to talk about. Etta James, for example, a jazz standard singer who inspired so many artists. I mean, if you think about an Etta James song that you know, I mean, At Last has been covered by so many artists. It's stood the test of time. It is a very important album for people. I think for me, this was one that I grew up listening to all the time, so I'm surprised that this one's not on here at all. They just didn't put many jazz standard singers at all. They put Nina Simone. Love Nina Simone. I do. I also want more people to be represented as well. So that surprised me. And then what also surprised me is there was no Whitney Houston. Like, is that me or is that Whitney Houston?
Was it just me or was that with Whitney
This
Houston?
is a singer who speaks for herself. I don't have to say anything about that. I mean, Whitney Houston is Whitney Houston. Like, I feel like I'm getting more mad than I should be. Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, you can either talk about this album together or separate. They both have good albums separately as well. Ella Fitzgerald, great jazz standard singer who is known for her dictation and known for her vocal ability and just vocal agility, I'm also going to say too, because she has just a great voice. Louis Armstrong, known for his voice, and known for his great musicianship. Well, there's a bunch of artists who I also think need to be on here. So I have a couple that I could name. For example, we don't have any Billie Holiday. There's no Frank Sinatra listed on here, which is beyond me, because if you want to talk about people that should be listed, Frank Sinatra is like one of the most famous jazz standard singers of all time. Then there's Tom Petty as well, Van Morrison, Simon and Garfunkel. There's no Tina Turner, which is beyond me. There's other artists too that come to mind: Donny Hathaway, Alicia Keys, Janelle Monáe, ABBA, Elvis Presley even. Oh, I almost forgot. Country. Casey Musgraves is the only country artist on this list. I'm so shocked by this because Casey Musgraves, I think herself would be like, that's really odd. Really odd. Golden Hour, great album. I'm not dissing Golden Hour at all. I'm saying that she is not alone within the country genre. There's been so many artists like Johnny Cash, Tammy Wynette, Glenn Campbell, Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton. No, they're not on this list at all. They're not on this list at all. And then the only other artist I'm going to mention is the one and only Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey is another woman who speaks for herself, and she probably doesn't care anything about this list, but I am going to come up to her defense regardless, because I think that she deserves to be on this list. I am shocked, bewildered, and gagged at the fact that she's not on this list, because she has 18 number ones and like so many diamond records that have gone and sold so many copies within the United States. She has rightfully earned her spot within legacy artist status way before she even had those 18 number ones, mind you. Like, that woman can sing, which is beyond me that why they didn't put her on this list. And I know this list is just Apple's list and it should not mean this much, and it doesn't. It really doesn't at the end of the day. And it's really meant to make us mad, but I do think that when we do talk about music, we should be more considerate of genres and considerate of people's actual impact and imprint within music history. So I think that's one thing that I would critique with this. Alright, this is the end of the video. Like I said, today I wanted this one to be a short one. I'm trying to challenge myself to make the videos a little bit short and sweet so that way I'm not rambling, because I will ramble. So thank you again for watching the video. Let me know your comments and your thoughts in the comment section, and if you want to leave a like and subscribe, I would appreciate it, but you have no pressure to do so. So thank you again. Bye.